What's up guys, it's Paraly5er here. Today I'm going to show you how to take down all 8 of the mixers inside of Grounded. Now this is a video I have yet to make and I don't think there's a guide out there that shows you how to take them all down. So today I'm going to show you how to beat all 8 of these mixers, starting with the one in the lower yard right by the red ant hill. This is where it is on the map. This is mixer number 1. Now in order to do this one, you don't really need much. I'm going to run some acorn armor. I'm going to use a pebblet spear and a red ant club. You genuinely could use anything for this. This is the easiest mixer in the game. It's pretty hard to mess it up. I am going to pick up a couple more pebblet spears though, just in case. But I'm not going to use any mutations for this because usually if you're doing this one, you won't have mutations unlocked. Now, you could do much more preparation for this first one. However, I just don't think it's necessary, so we're just going to do it, just me, some pebblet spears, and a red ant club with acorn armor. A very basic loadout. Things I would recommend for this mixer. First off, we are on woe difficulty, because I've decided that I'm going to do all these mixers on woe difficulty to make it as difficult as possible. I need to make sure I have bugs ignore players turned off as well. And as you can see here, creature health scaling 1.25x. We're on woe difficulty, and I have everything unlocked just to make this a little quicker of a video to make. This is the first mixer. Red workers, red soldiers, and lawn mites. Things to watch out for: there's stink bugs that spawn nearby. I would take out the stink bugs before you start the mixer, meaning you probably want to have a gas mask before you do this. Usually, by the time you come around to doing this mixer, you're going to have some tier 2 stuff, maybe even tier 3. Usually, I just do all the mixers at the end of the game, at which point I've completely forgotten to do anything else. So, it really depends what order you like to do stuff in. But we're going to do this video on woe just for the sake of making it so that you guys can see that these builds work on any difficulty. Obviously makes it a little bit tougher because woe is just a joke and really tough difficulty. In fact, I'm really struggling to kill these soldiers for some reason. Maybe I should try using the red ant club here. That seems to be working a little bit better. I'm actually struggling with the first mixer. This can't be real. Okay, let's get him stunned. Yeah, you don't need to build for this one. Although, maybe if you're on woe, you want to build. Because clearly, I'm struggling with the easiest mixer in the game somehow. We're not even halfway there, and the mixer's well below half HP, so another thing to note is I do have all molars unlocked here, because I either have them all or none, and I figured it's better to have them all for the last mixers. So we're going to have them all on the early mixers, which will make it a little bit easier, technically, but it is what it is. You can do these early mixers using tier 3 tools, do you know what I mean? You don't need to use the tier 1 and 2 stuff that I'm using. But yeah, now that I'm using the red ant club, you'll see it's a lot easier. The pebblet spear is definitely one to avoid. Clearly, it was nowhere near good enough for my needs. But now that we've got the right weapon for the job, it's a lot easier. Obviously, you want to be peeping these guys while you're doing the mixers, and I recommend you pick up all their bodies because you do have a chance of getting gold cards. It's the same chance as you would normally have. It's a 1% chance. But, you know, if you're going for golds, you might as well do it during the mixer. You know, don't just do it walking around the world. Don't just leave all these bodies on the ground. You might not want the red ant parts or the mandibles or the mite fuzz. But trust me, you get a gold card. It adds to the ease of the game. So it's definitely a thing to look out for when doing these. Speaking of which, you can fail the mixers on purpose and keep doing them over and over. If you're trying to get a specific gold card, let's say you want the lawn mite, you could fail the mixer, start again, kill more lawn mites. Fail the mixer, start again, kill more lawn mites. And you're just farming lawn mites at that point until you get the gold card. That is an effective way of getting golds. Obviously, you don't need to do it for lawn mites, but particularly in the Sandbox, it's really good with the antlions. Because the antlion gold card, you're going to have to wait for them to respawn otherwise, which can be a little bit more frustrating. But as you can see here, now that we've actually used a good weapon, this mixer is seeming to be pretty easy. And it's looking like we're going to clear it with ease, to be honest. Like, that lawn mite ain't even coming over here. He's just chilling. He's vibing. Okay, he jumped on my face. I regret saying anything. There's another one over there. Oh, here comes the last wave of soldiers. Another thing worth noting is, as long as you can keep your enemies distracted, so that they're not hitting the mixer and they're attacking you, if you're parrying the attacks, then that's all that matters. You can also run away from the mixer. You don't have to stand by it the entire time you're doing it. There we go. I didn't almost die. It's WoW difficulty, okay? Things are tough. That's the very first mixer done. 2,500 raw science. Again, you can do this one really, really early in the game, but the rest of the mixers, I'm going to recommend that you do a lot later in the game, just because it's going to make them much, much easier. You don't really need to do them early. You don't need the raw science for any particular reason. So let's move on to the next mixer, which is the one in the hedge. Okay, on to mixer number 2. We are now underneath the hedge, and like I said, I don't mess around after mixer number 1. Now I'm running Assassin Mask level 9, Chest of the Mother Demon level 9 Sleek, and Fire Ant Leggings level 9 Bulky. The Assassin Mask is also bulky. Mutations-wise, I would recommend you run Guard Dog. However, mine's already stage 3, so I'm not going to run it because it would make it way too easy. I would recommend you run Chopper for this. If you're on WoW, definitely run Spicy Safety. If you're comfortable with not dying, then you don't need to run Spicy Safety if you're on Medium or Mild. Cardio Fan, get your stamina in, or Parry Master, both are really good. Natural Explorer is going to allow you to move around faster once you've killed out the enemies. And I'm also going to run Coup de Grace just for that little bit extra damage. Now I'm also running a level 9 Spicy Termite Axe. You could run the Spicy Coltana if you want to. I personally am not a huge fan of the weapon. I think it's too thin when hitting things. But if that's your thing, then go ahead and use it. In terms of defense for this one, I've built a wall and another set of walls. They're mushroom half walls. You don't need to go crazy with the defense for this mixer. There's no flying enemies, which is why I've only done ground defense. They can't get past them without breaking the walls. So all we need to do is start the mixer. Another thing worth mentioning that I didn't say on the previous mixer, mixers pause time. When you're doing a mixer, the time in the yard is not going to change, so preferably do these during the day. It will remain daytime the entire time, which makes it much, much easier. Now, as you can see here, the larvae are the first thing to arrive. They're going to sneak their way around and break your walls. You could also carry a repair tool on you that you can use to repair stuff as you're doing the mixers. That's definitely an option that you have. I have opted not to do that for now. Likewise, if you're in New Game Plus, you would think you could use the Handy Nat, but actually, the Handy Nat is disabled during the mixers, so you will not be able to use it. So you do need to bring a repair tool if you want to repair your walls. As you can see here, Handy Nat is not an option, even though I have it enabled in my custom game. Once again, we're on WoW difficulty. It shouldn't be too difficult though. This is really late game gear for doing the mixer, but I don't like doing the mixers early on because I find myself wanting to use mushroom bricks to build the defenses. Because for this mixer, if you don't use mushroom bricks, you're going to need to use grass or weeds. Do you see any grass or weed stems nearby? No, because there isn't any. They're all off in Timbuktu over there. So if you want to be carrying hundreds of grass planks back and forth, go ahead. But I always wait until I get mushroom bricks, which usually means I have this gear that I have on now, or some sort of variation of similar gear. You could easily do this with tier 2 ladybug armor and like a level 7 spicy axe. If you're on WoW, it might be a little bit more of a challenge, but this is the kind of gear that I always run once I get to the late game prior to New Game Plus, so you might as well run it to do the mixers. There's no reason to have done them early on in the game. As you can see, this set, very effective at taking out the orb weavers. They're just going down like sacks of potatoes. It's very, very easy. The enemies on here aren't too bad. It helps that they are all weak to spicy damage, so you only need a spicy weapon in order to fight these guys. And yeah, it's pretty easy. Once again, make sure you're peeping them. This guy's weak to spicy. This guy's weak to spicy. And the lava, weak to spicy. He is resistant to chopping, which makes him a little harder to kill. Luckily, the lava is the weakest enemy on the list here, which means they're going to go down very easily anyways, regardless of if they're resistant to your axe. As you can see, I'm not even too bothered about getting hit anymore. These guys are not doing much damage to me whatsoever. And they're doing a bit of damage to the walls, so we got to watch out for that. But it's not a big deal. I'm also running Beefy Soothing Syrup. You can run any beefy smoothie as your healing item, as they all heal the exact same amount. You'll typically find as well, when you're about halfway through these mixers, if you're killing the enemies quickly, you're going to have a big dry patch in the middle where no enemies will spawn, because it's basically set up to be like, oh, you're killing enemies right now, we're not going to spawn any. It's like, nope, all the enemies are dead, you don't need to hold off on me. Okay, so we did lose a wall there. Typically, you would get a mushroom brick from that in a survival world, but obviously we did not. It's worth noting as well, if you do not have a repair tool on you, there is another strategy that you can do that's not going to work because I'm in a custom game, but you can break your own wall, and you will get all of the bricks back if you break it yourself. If an enemy breaks it, you'll only get half of the bricks. So you'll only get 1 brick for this half wall. But if you manually break it when it's on its last little bit of HP, it'll give you both bricks and you can fully rebuild the wall, which technically is repairing it without a repair tool. If you somehow forget a repair tool or you just want to do that, that's another option that you can use for making this a much easier experience. As you can see, nothing too crazy here. This one was pretty easy. Just a bunch of spiders, and we're almost at the end. I can take a few licks. It's not too bad. Once you get into New Game Plus, you will get infused enemies on these mixers, and they're going to start to get difficult. I wouldn't even recommend doing them on New Game Plus. There's not really any sort of incentive for doing them. You get a little bit of raw science, and that's about it. So nothing too crazy. As you can see here, the mixer is basically done. It was very, very easy. We took out that last wave of enemies. I would recommend if you do this, you build a 2x2 box as your first set of walls, then you build out one like I did here, and then do a bigger 4x4 box. You could do a 3x3 around the middle initially, but you can fit a 2x2 if you build it very, very well. You can see it just fits in the gaps, and boom, just like that. 2,500 raw science. Let's move on to the mixer in the Haze. For our third mixer, we have the one inside of the Haze. It's right here on the map. I'm going to recommend that you plug the Haze before you do this. It's going to make it way easier if you don't have to wear a gas mask. I've built a pretty basic little structure here around the mixer, as you can see. Nothing too crazy. Mutations-wise, I'm running Barbarian, Coup de Grace, Natural Explorer, Cardio Fan, Spicy Safety, and I'm running the Mint Mace, which is very different to what we've been running previously. The reason we're running this weapon is it is very, very powerful. Once again, you want to clear out the enemies that are nearby so they don't get in the way while you're doing this. I'm running the same armor as last time. I'm going to make sure I put the right leggings on here. The one thing you have to be careful with this Mint Mace is when you do a combo, it will do a big area of effect attack if it's above level 5, which will damage your walls. So, if you don't want to have that happen, you can use a fresh Club of the Mother Demon, but if this effect doesn't bother you too much, then you should be fine. As you can see, mushroom bricks wise, I have done a pretty basic little structure. Again, that's a lot of bombs to surround the main bit of the mixer. And then I put a little mushroom brick wall up as well, just to kind of keep stuff away. I hear a mite. I don't see the mite, though. Where's the mites? Oh, they're over here. Why are they so loud? Yeah, we have bricks across the front to block off the enemies. And then I've put a bunch of random walls down. Now, this is something I haven't mentioned on the previous mixers yet. But if you put a bunch of random walls down, the enemies go, oh, the mixer's over there. There's a wall. No, actually, let me attack the wall. They attack the walls. They're silly. They could just walk around these walls and go straight for the mixer. But they don't. They attack the random walls that you put down. So there is a bunch of weed stems, as you can see, inside of this weed here and that weed there, and the dandelions and stuff that are around. Just use those, chop them down, and build a bunch of random stem half walls all over the place, because the enemies will just attack them. They will completely avoid the mixer, and they'll attack these random walls, and it'll make your life 10 times easier. Once again, if you have guard dog, please do use it. I'm not using it. That hurt. I'm not using it because it's stage 3 guard dog and it would make it way too easy. And once again, we are on woe difficulty just to show that these builds work on all difficulties. Obviously, I'm running pretty high level gear for these early mixers. That's because personally, I never do these mixers until I get late into the game. If you were to do this mixer while you're actually beating the Haze lab, it would be a lot harder. You'd be running like tier 2 weapons. You'd really start to struggle. So I would just recommend you leave them until you get to the very end of the game. Obviously, once again, don't forget to peep everything and loot all of the bodies as you're going, because you might get lucky and get a gold card. Chances are I'm not going to get lucky here, but I'll loot them just on the off chance that I do. I've got to make sure we peep everything first. And yeah, the mixer timer, it's going pretty quickly. We just got to take our time here and make sure we take everything out as soon as it spawns in. Nothing too dangerous as of right now. Other thing worth noting, if your mushroom brick walls don't get destroyed, once you're finished with the mixer, just recycle them all. You can bring all the bricks with you to the next mixers. That way, you don't have to leave big structures all around these things. I will say, it takes a while to recycle all of this stuff. So I will show you a quicker method for doing that. Also, these massive weevil bombs that are happening, they're just destroying some stem walls. They're not doing anything dangerous to the mixer. As you can see, very calm, no enemies at all. Like, this is just light work. Nothing difficult about it at all. I was hoping we could get a gold card, but it doesn't seem like we're going to get that lucky. Got a couple more enemies showing up. Okay, they destroyed another one of our stem walls. It's no big deal. These weevils are all walking away from the mixer for some reason. God knows why that is. We peeped these guys, we did. I think that's pretty much it for the mixer. As you can see, not only is this easy, it's like not even close to being difficult. This is on woe, and these enemies are doing nothing. Like, everything is still full HP. They didn't even destroy any mushroom walls. Again, I'm using late game gear, I know, but it's because we do these during the late game. Oh, I discovered a pebbler. I thought I had a gold card for a second. And yeah, this is a custom world, which is why I'm discovering everything as I pick it up, because I've barely played it. Right, that gives you another 2,500 raw science. And I'm also going to show you how to destroy stuff quickly. So, you'll notice if you do this manually, it takes forever to recycle everything. Even on keyboard. Well, if you want to do it nice and quick, what you're going to want to do, assuming everything is attached, is you're going to relocate your walls. I mean, they're all supported by one thing right now. So you're going to relocate it so that it's all being supported on one place. Which seems to be impossible to do because this game just won't let me relocate stuff. And then when you destroy the one that's supporting everything, it all falls down. And everything drops all at once. Now, because I'm in a custom game, stuff isn't dropping, like bricks and stuff, when I'm breaking everything. But this is by far the quickest way to destroy your buildings after you're finished with the mixer. You're just going to pull everything, relocate it all to one place, just like this. Sometimes you'll get a bug like this where it says it's being supported, so you say screw the wall. And then just like that, once everything is attached to one thing, you destroy the one thing on the bottom, everything falls down, you get all of your bricks back, just like that, nice and easy. Let's move on to the Sandbox mixer next. Next up, we are in the Sandbox with a brand new set of armor and gear to take on the Sandbox mixer. Again, worth 2,500, and this time you're fighting antlions that burrow under the sand. I would recommend a full set of antlion armor. I have upgraded mine to level 9, and I've gone bulky, because I think bulky is the best way to go on the antlion armor. Perfect, look at that parry. And all you're going to want to do, just kill the antlions. We got a level 9 Salty Club of the Mother Demon 2. This is my favorite salty weapon to use in the game. It absolutely blitzes through these antlions. It's a very good weapon. As you can see again, very basic defenses for this one. The antlions do burrow, but you just got to keep an eye out for where they are when they spawn, like right here. And then when you do see them, just go ahead and get some hits in on them so you can get them stunned and take them out as quickly as possible. Once again, we're on Woe. I highly recommend you run fresh defense here, so stop the sizzling as much as possible. You can also run the insulating lava spike, which reduces your sizzle even more, or a quesadilla antlion for even more sizzle protection. On top of that, if you're still struggling with sizzling, I would highly recommend you get some mint chunks. What you're going to do is eat the mint chunks whenever you are getting high on that sizzle bar. It's going to reduce the sizzle bar for you. So if you don't have a perfect loadout for this, then definitely bring a stack of mint chunks with you so that you can do that. As you can see here, these guys aren't too difficult to deal with. You just got to learn the timing on parrying their burying attacks. You do get 2 at a time sometimes, which can make things a little more difficult, but just make sure you focus on taking them out individually. This is one that is very good for farming the Antlion gold card. However, oh look, what are the odds? You're not going to get any pincers from this, you just get parts. So yeah, you can farm this mixer over and over again for the gold card. What are the odds that actually happens? That looks so scripted. Now, if these guys hit you, it does a lot of damage, especially on Woe difficulty. So make sure you have a stack of beefy smoothies on you so you can heal up if you do end up taking any damage. You could also build a little roof over your head that you could sit under that will reduce the sizzle. Or if you sit in some shadows, like this shadow right here that's being cast, that also works. Or just do the mixer at nighttime, then you don't have to run antlion armor for this. You can just use your regular armor set, because remember, doing the mixer pauses time in the game. So if it's nighttime when you start, it will remain nighttime for the duration of the mixer. Thus, you will never sizzle. So if you want to do it during the night to avoid that, you're more than welcome to. It might be a little harder to see though. Once again, make sure you're running Guard Dog as one of your mutations. As you can see, I'm not running it as one of mine because it's stage 3. I'm only going to use it on the late mixers if I'm going to use it at all, but it does make the mixers much, much easier. It's one of the best mixer mutations that there is out there. Sometimes the antlions can bury under the walls, which is a bit of an issue, but, you know, you just got to deal with that when it happens. They do hit the mixer sometimes by bury attacking, but luckily it's not too big of an issue if you can stop them with these walls like I have. You could also put floors underneath, and I think that stops them from burying through the floors. It just damages the floor instead. But once again, this mixer, very, very easy. When you do take this on, just make sure you have some good gear and you should be fine. You gotta watch out for that though. You get hit by 2 antlions at once and that can be very dangerous. I've died to that before actually in Woe difficulty. So yeah, you gotta have a very strong set of armor for that, or run away when they do the bury attack if you're not confident parrying it. But boom, just like that, mixer number 4 is done, which means we've got 4 mixers left to go. 3 of which are super mixers and are going to be very, very difficult. But let's just make sure we finish this one off nice and easy. Take out the 2 antlions at once. And just like that, things are looking good. How many did we kill? 14 antlions you have to take down to be able to complete this mixer in the span of about 5 minutes. I'd say that's not too bad at all. Mixer is over, and once again your reward for this one is another 2,500 raw science. You also get extra raw science for quests for completing mixers when you complete your 1st, when you complete your 4th, and when you complete the 8th mixer. Now let's head over to mixer number 5 and we'll give that one a go too. Mixer number 5, here we go. This is the first one in the upper yard, kind of in the lower yard, kind of in the upper yard. We have mosquitoes and black soldier ants. Now the first thing to note here is that you want to cover up the mixer after you have started it, so you probably want to carry some planks or something up with you. We're going to use the spicy termite axe for the black soldier ants. You could also use a spicy club of the mother demon. In terms of the other enemies, we have mosquitoes here. Now I'm going to use the acid edge, or the sour battle axe as it should actually be called. You could choose to use the mint mace, or you could choose to stick with the spicy termite axe. I am running the chopper mutation. I think it's a very valuable one to use here. Spicy safety, also very good if you're taking a lot of damage. You could also run meals and stuff on these. Obviously, I'm just choosing not to. If you were running a meal here, I don't know, what would you use? Spider slider, maybe? I would cover the mixer with this one because it does have flying enemies. So I went for 2 layers tall of mushroom brick and then some grass plank floors on top to protect from the skeeters. You're also going to need a staircase up to the top because sometimes the mosquitoes will attack the top part of the mixer. So you want to be able to have a way to get up to them. You've also got to watch out for bouncing off of the mosquitoes because that seems to happen a lot. I would focus on taking the mosquitoes out first and then focus on taking out the black soldier ants. Once again, use the terrain to your advantage, making sure to put down a bunch of random grass half walls because there's a bunch of grass around. Just use it to put down some half walls because this will distract the enemies and it will cause them to go and attack the walls instead of going for the mixer because they are silly dum-dums. In terms of like weaponry here, like I say, I think what I'm using is pretty good. Since mosquitoes aren't resistant to spicy, you could stick with a spicy termite axe. It would work against both. The soldiers, however, are resistant to chopping, but chopper does help to counteract that. As you can see, spicy level 9 termite axe, also pretty strong here. Don't even have to use the acid edge if you don't want to. These enemies are weird. This mixer overall is weird because the enemies are both lower yard enemies, but the mixer is kind of in, I mean, it's in the upper yard by definition, but it's like in that sort of in-between stage between the upper yard and the lower yard. So as you can see, with chopper equipped, with the fire ant leggings equipped, with the assassin mask and the broodmother chestplate, all that stuff's all stacking up and helping with damage. I'm not even running a trinket. You should really be running at least some sort of trinket for this, even if it's just a basic candy trinket or Thor's pendant or something along those lines. Any sort of trinket will help. Mixers not too difficult. All these lower yard first 5 mixers, they're pretty simple. It's the final 3 mixers where it's going to start to get really tough, where you're going to need the tips and tricks that I'm going to teach you in the video. They're going to make the world of difference. And it's actually going to make the mixer really, really easy. So let's just make sure we finish off this mixer. We don't mess up at all. And as you can see, even the flying creatures are dumb enough to go for my little half-wall deception tactics. It's enough to distract them and get them out of the way. Just like that. I'm nearly dead, but it doesn't really matter because the mixer's going to be done regardless. I could literally die right now and I think I'd still beat the mixer. Mushroom wall's getting low. Let's manually break it, allowing us to replace it at full health. It would have dropped 4 bricks if I wasn't in a custom game here. As you can see, mixer's pretty much done. We might get one more big wave of enemies before it finishes here. Let's see. Okie dokie, not even another big wave of enemies. Just like I taught you, make sure you make it so that all of the bricks are floating in the sky. Just like this. And then, if I get this one as well, when you destroy this bottom wall, the whole thing comes tumbling down. You get all your resources back at once, and you can collect the 2,500 raw science. Let's head over to the first of 3 super mixers that we have to do in this video. These are the hardest 3 in the game, and they give the most reward as well. Let's go do it. Here we are at mixer number 6. This is the first of these super mixers in the upper yard. We're right by Muldor Castle, right here on the map. Now, this one does have a reward of 5,000 raw science. You got to deal with ticks, mosquitoes, and a green shield bug. Here we go. Now, you'll see I haven't gone too crazy in terms of the build here. I've gone for 2 layers thick. We are still on woe difficulty. I've gone with crow feather ramps. I've gone with mushroom walls and burr floors to cover up the rest. What you're going to want to run on this one is you're going to want to run the acid edge or the mint mace, whichever you prefer for the mosquitoes, and you're going to run the spicy staff. Now, I learned this trick from my girl Emmy. She taught me that the spicy staff is the best way to do this super mixer by far. So as soon as the ticks spawn in, we're just going to do a charged attack. and that's going to take them out straight away. Now, they seem to be being a bit weird here. They're getting stuck on the tree. As you can see, boom, ticks, dead, one charged attack, easy peasy. These are always the biggest issue on this Super Mixer, because I always had the problem in the past of killing them quickly because they are resistant to fresh, busting, and salty. They're only weak to spicy, and they're so tanky. So if you're not hitting them with huge damage, then it's not going to kill them quickly, you know? Like, I never found a spicy Kultana was good enough against them, but whenever I'm using the spicy staff, it just seems to be the best weapon. Now, in terms of mutations here, we'll take a look when I get a second to breathe. Look at that, one charged attack and they're gone. Boom. Mutations, chopper for the axe if you decide to use it instead of the mint mace. I will use that the next time some spawn in. We're getting a lot of ticks here, right? Boom, all dead. That's another advantage of the spicy staff. Takes them all out with a single charge shot. But yes, as I was saying, we are taking down the mosquitoes either with the mint mace or the acid edge. Both level 9, both very effective. Chopper will help you if you're using the acid edge. You could also run Whittle Wizard for the spicy staff. Make sure you take out the wasps at the wasp nest before you do this mixer, because they will get in the way if you don't. Also make sure you've built this mushroom brick wall back here. If I go into photo mode real quick, you will see there's a big mushroom brick wall that goes from the fence to the rock. You have to build that wall to make this easy as possible in terms of this mixer. As you can see, more ticks. Boom, all dead. That's going to help massively with completing this mixer. As you can see here, we're 2 walls tall, 2x2 box, then cover it with burr floors. I went 1 extra layer out, but 1 layer down, and then I did ramps up. This is so you can get to the top easily for when the mosquitoes show up. And you obviously have the charged attack of the spicy staff, which deals with every single tick all at once if you actually hit your shots well. You have to be careful of the ticks still if they do start hitting you. That is going to hit pretty hard. They're very difficult enemies to take care of, which is why I recommend the spicy staff. There's a bunch of grass on the other side of the logs here if you need that to build the grass walls that I did. Those grass half walls are purely a distraction tactic. If you got loads of mushroom bricks, you could use mushroom brick walls as well. It is absolutely an option. I just found grass easier to collect in my experience because it's all over on the other side there. As you can see, these defenses are going to end up being a bit overkill for the mixer, but it's always better to be overkill. And this is on low. So if you're on medium, you might not even want to build something as big and chonky as this pyramid that I built. It doesn't require crazy resources. It's a couple hundred mushroom bricks, but it is absolutely worth it to be able to take down this super mixer. As you can see, we're having no issues at all. Just spicy staff level 9 is all you need, and we're vibing. Next wave of ticks has arrived. Next wave of ticks is gone. You get so much free time on this one once you've endured the start, because they expect you to take so long killing these ticks because of how chonky that they are. And then because you're killing them so quickly, it buys you loads of free time so that you can be ready for whenever the next wave of enemies shows up. That's the biggest thing with defeating mixers, is as long as you're ahead of schedule on killing enemies, you're going to be waiting for the next set of enemies to spawn. As soon as you start getting behind schedule, that's when the enemies are going to start to build up and pile up, and that's when it's going to start to get really difficult to handle them. Because you're killing one wave of enemies, and the other wave of enemies has already spawned and is already damaging your walls. But as you can see, this floor here took a lot of damage, but apart from that, everything else is looking just fine. We've got no issues at all. But very soon, you're going to see our good old friend, the green shield bug. Now, building that wall makes it so that the green shield bug will still spawn over there. However, he will decide to walk around that wall instead of destroying it. Now, if you build another wall on the right, where the juice box is, it's going to cause him to spawn in a different location, and that's going to mean that it's just not going to work, basically, right? Like, if he spawns in a different location, he's going to get to the mixer much quicker. Building that singular wall prevents him from getting to the mixer, because he walks around the rock This giant rock over here. He walks all the way around it. And as you can see, he's right here. So he arrives just in time for the mixer finishing. You can always draw him away if you need to. And that means that he's not going to be able to destroy the mixer, especially if you distract him like I am right now. He's just going to chase my ass down. He doesn't even care about the mixer. And then boom, he's leaving. The mixer's done. I can peep him. We're all happy. Just like that, another mixer complete. 5,000 raw science. Let's move on to the next super mixer. Next up, we have the mixer underneath the lawn mower in the upper yard right here. As you can see, pretty basic set of walls around it. For this one, all you're gonna need is the mint mace at level 9. Again, be wary, the special attack of this weapon is indeed gonna damage nearby walls, so you gotta be careful of that. And you've also got to be careful if you're in multiplayer, you're going to damage your teammates with the special attack too. So maybe try to avoid doing full combos, or just don't run the mint mace. Pretty simple solution. You can run a club of the Mother Demon fresh. It'll do the same amount of damage, but without the special mint burst effect. As you can see here, we have roly-polies, fire soldier ants, and fire worker ants. Now, the reason the mint mace is good here is they are all weak to fresh damage. I built a bunch of mushroom half walls around the place, as this is going to keep them all distracted as much as possible during this mixer. And yeah, all we're going to do is keep taking them down as they're spawning here. We should be able to get some relief with the speed that we're killing them at. Once again, woe difficulty to make it as difficult as possible. Yes. Worth noting, I forgot to mention the mutations last time. We had Chopper, Natural Explorer, Cardio Fan, Spicy Safety, and Guard Dog. This time we have Natural Explorer, Cardio Fan, Spicy Safety to take less damage from the ants and roly-polies. We have Annihilator to do as much damage to the ants as possible and kill them as quickly as possible. Also helps you take less damage from the ants too. And then finally, we have ourselves Guard Dog, because at this point you should have stage 2 or stage 3 of Guard Dog, depending what order you're doing stuff in. And that is just one of the best mutations to run during the mixers. So that is what we're running right here. Also worth noting, you should definitely go over here and block up the anthill. It's just going to reduce the number of ants that are going to come out while you're doing the mixer and make it as easy as possible. As you can see, they're going to get distracted by my small half mushroom walls. And that allows me to just sneak in and do enough damage to take them out in a single combo because of how powerful the mint mace is. As you can see though, things are going very smoothly thus far. We're halfway done the mixer already, and we've had very little issues. In fact, the enemies are taking quite a while to spawn. I'm spending half my time sitting, waiting around. Annihilator just makes this so easy. You take barely any damage. You do so much damage to these ants. Guard Dog, once again, makes it so easy. You do have to be careful on this one. The ants will sometimes come from this right side, so you always got to keep an eye out that nothing's sneaking up behind the mixer to take it out. But as long as you have your wits about you, you should be completely fine. The ants are taking forever to spawn. There's that double roly-poly spawn. This is probably the most dangerous part of the mixer, because these guys are chonky, and taking them out quickly is very important. I don't know why they're just ignoring me completely. I don't have bugs ignore players on. They're just so focused on taking down this one mushroom half wall, I guess, that they're not even bothered fighting me. They got the wall they wanted, but at the cost of both of their lives. As you can see, Mixer is perfectly protected right now. The roly-polies, nowhere near it. Once again, if you're looking for gold cards, loot the bodies. Don't do what I'm doing. You know, go grab everything. See if you can get yourself a little bit of luck. But clearly, I'm not lucky. I'm not going to be able to get myself the gold card. Once again, keep an eye out on that back. Here they come. See, I told you, if you don't pay enough attention, you get snuck up on and you get a full set of enemies coming up behind. It is worth taking out as many enemies nearby as you can before you do the mixer, so you don't get things like ladybirds showing up in the middle of your mixer trying to ruin your time. Luckily, they're just not attacking me. I don't know what's going on right now. I clearly didn't have bugs ignore players on, so I don't know why some of the enemies just won't fight me. They're being a bit strange. Guys. They're just not interested, apparently. Okay, we got another double roly-poly spawn. Let's go take these guys out. You gotta be careful with these roly-polies. They do like to heal a lot, which makes them very annoying to deal with. But, you know, you just got to make sure you keep hitting them. And eventually they'll go down because they won't be able to heal quicker than you're doing damage. Another reason why it's important to run the Mint Mace. You need high damage output to beat these mixers, especially against an enemy like the Roly-Poly that heals itself. It's very, very important. That's why I'm running the Mint Mace. It is probably the highest damage output weapon in the entire game for this mixer. One of the highest damage output weapons in the entire game, full stop even. Especially if you don't include tier 4 weapons. I think it's one of the best tier 3s. So, yeah. Pretty simple. I think we've taken out all of the enemies. I think it's unlikely we'll get anything else to spawn here. So, that is Super Mixer number 2 defeated and Mixer number 7 defeated. And leaves just one more mixer to go, which, funnily enough, has identical enemies to this one. So, surely it'll be just as easy, right? I'm sure it will. We will have to see that. As you can see, no more enemies spawned, and we get ourselves 5,000 raw science. Let's move on to the final super mixer. And here we go with the final super mixer, mixer number 8. Same loadout as the last one. It's the exact same enemies. There's little to worry about here, apart from the fact there's a bunch of enemies nearby. The hardest part of this particular mixer is preparing the mixer. You need to have Ambassador Stage 3, because if you don't, you're just going to be continually swarmed by fireworker ants. As you can see from all the bodies on the ground here before I started the mixer, they just continuously show up and just attack you non-stop while you're trying to build. So my biggest recommendation is just to kill as much stuff in the nearby vicinity before you start doing the mixer here, because they're just going to swarm you constantly. It doesn't help that the fire ant nest is nearby. Where did that other soldier just go? Okay, there he is. I thought he went off into the moon there. You are going to get enemies from down there, from up here, and from over around the back here as well. So, same again, just a bunch of random mushroom walls, and then something to surround the mixer at the very least. I've gone with a very minimal defense here. It can be pretty risky to go with something so small. A lot of people would build a much bigger defense for doing these mixers, but I have enough experience doing them that I'm pretty confident to say that that is enough in terms of what I need to be able to beat the mixer. The biggest risk is more so me dying to, for some reason, ladybirds showing up that aren't even part of the mixer because they're just nearby in the nearby vicinity. But just do your best to either ignore those enemies or take them out before you even start the mixer. And then once you do get the main enemies that are part of the mixer, get rid of them as quickly as possible so they don't actually get anywhere near the mixer. As you can see, that wall took quite a bit of damage from those enemies just there. So you got to be very careful. This ladybird has just decided it wants to be part of the mixer, so we're going to have to take it out. Luckily, I'm taking out enemies pretty quickly, so that means that these sort of additional enemies that are running up on us shouldn't be as much of an issue. We got another ant here. Again, just going to get rid of him because otherwise he might try and get in the way. Okay, we got some soldiers and some workers coming up. Okay, I gotta actually lock in and get rid of these guys. Boom, just like that. They're all gone. I'm trying to conserve my stamina by not sprinting as well. Gives it a chance to regen. You know, I don't need to sprint over to the enemies to kill them. We're not in that big of a rush. We're just trying our best to get rid of them as quickly as we can. Again, Annihilator is really the most important mutation here alongside Guard Dog. Because the majority of the enemies here are ants, and that is just going to make you do the most damage possible to ants while you're doing this mixer. We're about halfway there, and we're looking pretty solid so far. The roly-polies will be showing up here pretty soon. From up there, probably, is usually where they come from. This Black Ox Beetle really wants me dead, and he will not leave me alone. He's just camping up there. But, you know, I think he's a bit stuck, so we shouldn't have to worry about him at all. Speak of the devil, and they shall arrive. It's the double roly-poly coming for the mixer. We're going to make our way over to them and take them out before they can get to the mixer. Again, the quicker you can kill stuff, the quicker you can get back to the mixer to protect it from other enemies. One roly-poly down. Here's number 2. He seems to be stuck on the dry grass, but we're going to take him down regardless, just to make sure he doesn't get near the mixer anytime soon. And boom, both roly-polies dead. Let's go see if there's any ants that have shown up. Okay, looks like we're in the clear for now. Oh, the Black Ox Beetle finally arrived. Good thing I have a salty weapon on me. Gotta always come prepared for these things. because you never know when some random enemy might show up in the middle of your mixer that isn't invited. Luckily, the Salty Club will absolutely obliterate this guy, and we should have no issues at all. Once again, we got more fireworker ants. These guys, nice and easy. No issues at all. Just make sure we get rid of them. Boom. Anything down below? No, it looks like we're in the clear. You just gotta keep your eyes open, keep swiveling your head around to look for all of the enemies. Like, oh my god, look at all the ants that just spawned over here. That is a lot of fireworker ants. Gotta take advantage of the AoE effects of the mint mace here. It will stun any ants that it hits with its AoE, so that also massively helps. As you can see, we're getting a little overwhelmed here. There's quite a lot of ants showing up at once. But let's just make sure we don't panic, we keep calm, and we get rid of them. Oh, the mixer is taking damage here. One of the walls has been breached. That mixer took a decent amount of damage there. As you can see, I also can't rebuild the wall because I'm in combat currently. But if you get the chance to escape combat at any point, do have some extra mushroom bricks on you so that you can rebuild any walls that need rebuilt during the mixer process. Now that I'm missing a wall on that mixer, I'm keeping an eye on the health bar of the mixer at all times, just in case there's any ants that sneak up behind and get through the gaps. But now that I've killed all the enemies, I should be able to rebuild. Nope, because a goddamn ant has shown up that isn't even part of the mixer. But yeah, it should. Usually the bodies will get in the way, so you gotta get the bodies to despawn. Okay, we've got a bunch more ants trying to delete the mixer. As you can see, we're getting very close to beating the mixer now. So the main goal here is just to get rid of these guys, making sure none of them are dealing damage to the mixer itself. No one breaches through that gap that we have in the wall or creates a new gap in the wall like this guy right here is trying to do right now. Boom. Boom. A little closer than I would have liked, but overall you can see you don't need to go all out building massive extravagant things. This maybe cost 50 mushroom brick or so, and just like that we were able to beat it on the first attempt, getting 5,000 raw science. That was the final super mixer, so it gave us another 2,500 on top of that. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hopefully this helps you defeat all of the mixers inside of the backyard. This was on WoW, so if you're on medium or mild, it should be way easier for you. If you're on WoW, maybe build a little bit extra than I did, but if you feel comfortable with all the stuff I've shown you, then you should be able to beat them fairly easily now. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like on it. I'll see you in the next Grounded video. Have a great rest of your day.